We've now come to charts in Unit 7, and what a great tool. We a lot of times use charts to depict visual representations of data, and a lot of times it's a lot more interesting to look at a visual chart, whether it's a pie chart or a bar chart or a line chart, instead of just a long bland list of data. So we're going to show you how to create charts, and we're going to take a look at two commonly used types of charts, the bar and the pie chart, in this video. So let's first start with the bar chart. Now the important thing is, of course, you have data that you can base your chart off of, and that's what we have in my spreadsheet here. I'm just tabling up the bonus sales for 2012. I've got my 4 employees here, and I'm going to represent this data with a bar chart. So there's 3 basic steps when you'd like to insert a chart, and it always remains the same 3 steps regardless of what type of chart you're inserting. It's fairly simple. So let's start with the bar chart, like I said, and our first step is going to be to select the data. And in this case, I'm going to go from A4, I'm going to include my headers here, and I'm going down to E8. I'm not going to include my totals here. I just want to depict the 4 quarters and the name of each of my salespeople here. So I'm going to select the data again. That's step 1. The second step then is to go up to your Insert tab on your ribbon. And our charts group is up here near the middle. We've got some commonly used types of charts up here on the ribbon itself. You can also click on the drop down and you'll have a whole bunch of more choices. So the one I'm going to choose, it's going to be the column chart, and I'm going to do just a basic 3D clustered column. So I'm going to click on that one. That's the third step, and when I hit OK, look at that, it puts it right there in my spreadsheet. So of course I'll need to move it so it's not overlapping my, my data in the background. So I can do that by just simply moving my cursor to the border of the chart. And as long as it's not in the middle of the border, right, you want to make sure it's somewhere where you have that black cursor with the 4 arrows at the end of it. And I'm going to click and hold and just drag that a little bit to the right and then release with my mouse so it's not covering up any of my data. I'm just going to put it right up here. Okay, so not too bad. It looks pretty nice. There's a couple things, of course, that we can do to format it. I'm going to get more into those options in the next video, but let me at least explain the different elements of this chart. So there's pretty much 5 things that are going on in this chart. We've got the y-axis. Sometimes you'll hear this called as the value axis. You'll have the x-axis, which is sometimes called the category axis. Your data series are these bars, right, that are representing the sales of the 4 employees here. And the legend, of course, is on the right. And I can move this. All these different aspects of the chart are flexible. You can move them around. And then you'll also sometimes see the word data point referred to, and that just is talking about one point on your data series. So it's just one point of these bars. Okay, so we're going to look at again the different aspects, the different formatting options you have with these aspects of the chart in the next couple videos. But for now, we've got our chart. It looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it as it is for now, and I want to show you one other commonly used type of chart, and that's the pie chart. So I'm going to go into my sheet 2 here for my next example, and basically I've made just a budget breakdown, and I want to depict this in a pie chart. Now, pie charts are great for depicting percentages, especially, right, when you want to see how much of the percentage one area takes up as opposed to the others. That's when you might use a pie chart. So again, even though we have a different chart type, it's going to require the same basic 3 steps to get it in there. The first being you've got to select the data. So I'm going to go from A4, I'm going to include my headers here, and I'll just go down to A9. Now I don't actually want to select column B or column D, so I'm going to use my non-contiguous data range selection. If you remember from the Unit 1 or 2 videos, I can hold down Control and select the next part that I want to select, which is in column C. That allows me to select column A and C without B or D. So that's the range that I've selected. That's step 1. The next step, of course, is to go into your Insert tab, and you can choose what type of chart you want to select. In this case, we're going for pie, and I'm going to go down to a 3D pie, and I'll choose this first one, the simple 3D pie, and that will give me my chart. It's looking very nice. So maybe just a little bit big though. So what I can do is position my cursor on one of the diagonal corners of this chart, and then I'll just click and hold, and then I can resize this as I'd like. Now, if I want to keep the proportions set, so the width versus the height, I can hold down the shift button on my keyboard while I resize this, so I can maintain the overall look. It doesn't look stretched either vertically or horizontally. So I'll make that a little bit smaller, I'll release, and I'll just kind of reposition it so it's a little bit closer to my data. It's looking pretty good, right? So for what I need, this basically suffices, and we're going to look at the more in-depth options in the next video.